What if your phone could tell you exactly when someone tried to mess with it? That might be possible soon with Samsung's upcoming One UI 8 update, which is expected to bring smarter, more detailed security features, possibly unlike anything we've seen before on Galaxy devices. Even though One UI 7, based on Android 15, is still rolling out to many phones, Samsung is already working on One UI 8. This next version will be built on Android 16, and a recent leak suggests it might include something called Intrusion Detection. This new feature could change how you keep your phone safe. The leak comes from a teardown of a beta version of the Google Play Services app in Android 16. Hidden in the code, experts found clues about a system that could track and log suspicious behavior on your device, basically giving you a security report if something shady happens while you're not looking. So what kind of activity could this system track? According to the report, it might log things like USB connections, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi activity, app installations, and even when your lock screen gets triggered. There's also a chance it could store browsing history, which could help you spot any unusual or unexpected activity. The most important part? These logs would be end-to-end encrypted and saved in a private and encrypted Google Drive folder. Only, you would be able to access them, using your Google account password and device lock screen info for verification. This could be a big deal for people who care about digital privacy or are concerned about someone snooping through their phones. Imagine being able to check if someone plugged in a USB cable while your phone was charging or installed a shady app when you left your device unattended. With intrusion detection, you could find out. Now, to be clear, this feature is still in early testing, and it's part of Android 16, not officially part of Samsung's One UI 8 just yet. So while it's possible we'll see it included in Samsung phones later this year, it's not confirmed. That said, Samsung often builds on top of Android's base features, so there's a good chance we'll see their own take on this. If it does make it into One UI 8, expect it to launch first with the Galaxy Z Fold 7 and Galaxy Z Flip 7, both of which are expected to be announced in summer 2025. Right now, an early version of One UI 8 has already leaked, but it doesn't show much beyond basic system improvements. The full set of features will likely be saved for the official launch with Samsung's new foldables. Security has become a major focus across the entire Android ecosystem, and with new threats emerging every day, people want more control over their data. Google's intrusion detection system could be a step toward giving users more transparency and peace of mind. Whether you're someone who shares your phone with others, travels a lot, or just wants to know what's going on behind the scenes, this kind of tool could be incredibly helpful. So, what do you think? Would you actually check these logs if you had access to them? And do you think Samsung will include this in One UI 8? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more updates on Samsung, Android, and everything tech.
What if the iPhone 18 Pro didn't have a notch or even a dynamic island? That might actually happen. According to a new report, Apple is planning to completely redesign the iPhone 18 Pro's front display. If this turns out to be true, the Pro and Pro Max models launching in 2026 might finally have no notch, no pill, and no island. Just a clean screen with only a small camera cutout. Let's break this down. Right now, Apple uses a pill-shaped cutout on its newer iPhones called the Dynamic Island. This cutout holds both the selfie camera and the Face ID sensors. It's not just for looks either. Dynamic Island also works as a smart interface for alerts and background tasks, but Apple may soon ditch the entire thing. A new report from The Information says that Apple plans to move all Face ID sensors under the screen for the iPhone 18 Pro and Pro Max. This means you would only see a tiny hole in the top left corner for the front camera. No more big black shapes cutting into your display. This isn't a new idea. Display analyst Ross Young has talked about under-screen Face ID before. In fact, he mentioned it had been pushed to 2026, which lines up perfectly with these new leaks. If Apple pulls this off, the iPhone 18 Pro could finally offer a truly edge-to-edge display. The notch on the iPhone X was the first step, then came the smaller dynamic island. Now, this can be the final step toward a clear, more modern iPhone look. But there's a big question. What happens to the dynamic island software feature? Right now, it reacts to what you're doing, like showing music playback, timers, or incoming calls. If Apple removes the physical pill, the software features still make sense. Or will Apple redesign that experience too? As of now, no one really knows. It's possible Apple will either rework Dynamic Island to fit around the new hole punch design, or completely remove it. If Apple does go forward with this plan, it would put them ahead in terms of display design. Some Android brands like Samsung have already used under-display cameras, but Apple's Face ID system is far more complex, requiring multiple sensors for depth and security. Hiding all of that under a screen without hurting performance or display quality is a serious challenge. That's why this shift, if successful, would be a major step. Face ID isn't just a convenience, it's also tied into payments, unlocking, and security. So Apple has to make sure the speed, accuracy, and reliability of Face ID stay the same even when it's under the screen. Also, it's worth pointing out that this redesign seems limited to the Pro models. Regular iPhone 18 versions might still use older designs or at least something less ambitious. Apple often keeps new features exclusive to the Pro lineup before bringing them to the base models. Another detail to keep in mind, Apple is rumored to be thinking about 2 major iPhone launches per year starting soon. So changes like this may be part of a bigger shift in how Apple updates its products. That could lead to faster rollouts and new tech appearing earlier than expected. To sum it up, if the rumors are right, the iPhone 18 Pro might be Apple's cleanest, most futuristic design yet. No notch, no dynamic island, just a hole for the front camera and a hidden Face ID system beneath the screen. Would you prefer this design over the current dynamic island, or do you think Apple should keep that feature around a little longer? Let us know in the comments. And if you like this update, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more easy-to-understand tech news every week. Will your Galaxy S26 come with the weaker chip? It's almost confirmed now. Samsung is going to release the Galaxy S26 series with 2 different processors depending on where you live. Some users will get the Snapdragon 8 Elite 2, while others will have to settle for the Exynos 2600. And if you've been following Samsung's history, you probably already know what that means. Exynos versions of Galaxy phones have often lagged behind the Snapdragon ones, whether in terms of speed, efficiency, or battery performance. And it looks like this trend will continue in 2026. Reports say Samsung has been working hard on its new 2nm Exynos 2600 chip, but yield rates are still not high enough to power every Galaxy S26 model globally. So, what's the plan now? Samsung will continue what it has done before, ship the Exynos version to certain regions, including multiple countries in Europe, while countries like the United States will receive the Snapdragon-powered Galaxy S26 models. Now, here's where things get a little more interesting. Even though Samsung won't be able to launch the Exynos 2600 everywhere, it might still gain something from this situation. The company is currently in talks with Qualcomm to actually manufacture the Snapdragon 8 Elite 2 chips. If that happens, Samsung can at least reduce production costs while also boosting the reputation of its own chip manufacturing business. That means even if users get the Snapdragon variant, Samsung still benefits. For Samsung Foundry, this would be a big win. They've recently made progress on stabilizing their 3nm process and are now focusing more on 2nm production. If they prove they can deliver high-end chips reliably, it could bring in more clients, maybe even some outside of the mobile market. Originally, Samsung hoped to power all Galaxy S26 phones with its own Exynos 2600 chip. That would have been a bold move, showing confidence in their chip-making abilities and creating better integration between hardware and software. After all, companies like Apple and Huawei have shown that making your own chips can lead to better performance and user experience. Think about Apple's M-series chips. It completely changed what people expect from performance, especially on Macs and iPads. That's what Samsung wants with Exynos, have full control and better optimization across their devices. But we're not quite there yet. The Exynos 2600 just isn't ready for a full-scale global launch. Still, the fact that it's good enough to be used in some markets is a clear sign of progress. It shows that Samsung is moving in the right direction, even if it's not happening as quickly as they'd hoped. Now, the big question is, will this matter to most users? In all honesty, the performance gap between Exynos and Snapdragon may not be huge for everyday use. Most people probably won't notice a big difference when browsing the web, watching videos, or using social media. But for power users, gamers, or those who care deeply about benchmarks and long-term performance, this could be a deal breaker. The mixed chipset strategy is likely to cause some frustration. People want to know they're getting the best version of the phone no matter where they live. And until Samsung can make enough Exynos chips to go fully in-house, this split could hurt consumer trust. What do you think?